Any chance we see Drow Ranger?
She was banned in the last game, so it's possible.
So it was going to be a Shadow Fiend mid, and the Quap will actually go towards the safe lane, more or less.
Yeah, so like we were saying, you guys were saying earlier, I believe, you were saying the Shadow Fiend goes mid, and Queen of Pain's, in the short lane and able to TP and rotate to assist the Shadow Fiend very, very easily.
I mean, when you see your opponent picking Visage, though, it's sometimes I feel like if you're giving the Visage a free time, like too much of a free reign, the hero actually transitions into a core. And would you actually think that it's actually a dangerous thing to give away? Like, you don't want to take that trade and you want to actually pressure the Visage.
Yeah, and Shadow Fiend does that. He pressures the towers, he's able to, build the mech, clear out creep waves quickly, and he pressures Visage pretty hard.
Storm Spirit!
And there we go. Another Storm. Pretty similar lineup.
Is it identical?
Yeah,
it's identical
only
right
the
now.
silence are missing, right? That's it, and he's been banned. So what does VP go for here as a replacement for that? Silence is gone. What do they go for? What do they need?
I feel they definitely need more team fight. Like, the Storm is going to jump in, and you want someone to actually be able to... There's Lina and Earthshaker, so you might want someone to be able to stand up front like a more tanky hero. They're actually going to still take out the Phantom Lancer here for Team Secret. They are just worried that the late game potential of VP is just too strong since they have Quap and Shadow Fiend and Darkseid. All their cores are already revealed. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you have to win the early game or mid game harder. You put yourself under pressure.
They could still... Virtus.pro still could draw. It would be kind of...
I mean, draw sounds just very risky right now because she isn't the same hero from before.
Yeah. And the Tuskar as well.
Do you think they're more likely to pick up Enigma now that the Silencers has been banned out?
I mean, it's possible though, because I've been talking about whether you don't want to let the Visage like go away, like free farming. If you pick an Enigma, you're taking a trade because Enigma and Visage are both greedy supports. And you're actually trading, I think it's even, more or less evenly. Maybe Visage is actually slightly much stronger because Visage transitions better into the late game with physical damage, and Enigma is just like a utility-based support hero here.
They actually go for the Dazzle.
This is just a typical Secret lineup. Like, everyone gets their more or less comfort hero. They have a very good balanced draft, good team fight, minus armor for dire side, being able to take Roshan, good defensive play, good initiating, good laning phase as well.
Comfort heroes. Everybody's basically on their, if not most comfortable, one of their most comfortable heroes for Secret.
Drow Ranger.
And they do go for the Drow.
They saw it coming last time. I think that was their final ban last time.
Paul, I guess we're down to 18, right?
We're down to
18 heroes not played.
Drow's already been picked once.
Oh, already been picked once.
Yeah, already been picked once, so still 19, but very close indeed. So first time at the main event. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's go down and Virtus.pro.
That's right, the early favorites of this tournament, Team Secret, who many had taking that first place slot, is actually down to just one game to elimination. Of course, they're facing up against Virtus.pro, a team that has the whole entire CAIS region pride behind them.
I mean, VP aren't slouches. They've consistently been one of the top 5 teams, in my opinion, in the entire world. They play a consistent style that's incredibly hard to break. They have one of the most consistent mid laners in Dota. I think a few players at ESL even called them top 3. And they've got a support duo that will rival any, as FNG and Lil. They're active.
Now, Virtus.pro chose to go with almost the exact same draft as game number 2. Very similar playstyle, even with the last pick difference here. Why do you think VP choose to go pretty much the same thing?
I think that Secret are a team that kind of struggle against the Storm Spirit. It seems like most teams pick Storm Spirit against them, and it works because they pick really greedy cores. They don't like to pick the offlaner that has a lot of control to work with. For example, the Sand King or the Earthshaker, like you'd see an Empire pick. And so the Storm really thrives against that, and they pick greedy supports at the same time. Like, they don't pick control supports, and that really hurts them. And VP, I mean, they've gone for a lineup which is incredibly strong at getting into team fights. They pick Lil, his best hero. They pick FNG, his Lina again. Like, these are all comfort heroes for VP.
And certainly, and this time around, they actually have an insane amount of pushing power thanks to the Drow Ranger last pick that will combo so well with the Visage. All things considered, Virtus.pro, things are a little bit different for Team Secret this time around. They did pick, first of all, they picked a very defensive support in Dazzle. A lot more lane-oriented, a lot more early game focus. VP just going to push Team Secret out here and actually force S4 into a Blink level 1. That's a good start for G, right?
Oh, it definitely is, and it's going to help them out quite a lot. And this mid lane, though, it's still probably favored for the Queen of Pain. Even though you have the Blink level 1, it's going to mean that FNG rotates in and helps G even more. But the Queen of Pain still has kill potential, like we've said before in the past. Once she hits level 6 before the Storm Spirit does, it's incredibly hard to work with, but I might take that back because Storm has the Precision Aura to work with at the same time. Right. That changes everything.
Yeah, it may not seem like much, but an extra 5 damage can actually mean all the difference in a 1 versus 1 matchup. Queen of Pain is usually supposed to have the attack damage lead over the Storm Spirit, but that extra bit, VP may have the advantage in the middle lane. They are kind of leaving bottom lane open, though. We are actually seeing Team Secret run a dual lane, a Puppey on the Dazzle, paired up with Zai's Darkseer, pushing very aggressively into the Draw Ranger Visage combo.
This is going to force the Lina down here, and this isn't the most efficient kill combination because there's no setup stun. FNG pretty much just has to guess. He doesn't even have a level of his stun quite yet. You've got the Grave Chill from Lil, but it's not efficient when you've got a Surge on the other side from Secret. So it's really just going to come down to whether or not FNG can get level 2 at a reasonable time, and if he manages to hit the stun at the same time.
Still at the same time, because there is dual lanes, DK Phobos may have an easier time in top lane. He's facing up against Kuro's Rubik and Arteezy's Shadow Fiend, a safe lane farming SF. Specifically, why are we seeing the SF in the safe lane over the Queen of Pain?
I think they would have just preferred the Queen of Pain to get more aggressive on G mid, and it's one of those heroes that is really safe to play with. Like, Storm is really hard, it's really easy to kill, but at the same time it's incredibly hard for Storm to kill it.
He's actually kind of caught here. Zai's going to try and run him down with a Surge. He's going to pick up the first blood here. Yep, there goes the right click. Now he will be a bit far forward. Virtus Pro may be able to turn around on him. They need the slows. They're not going to have enough. The Darkseer taking enough to survive through that one. FNG, rather uncharacteristic mistake in the laning phase by him, just being too far forward against Darkseer.
And that's really significant because Adro isn't farming at all, and she expected to have free farm here, and the Darkseer getting that first kill by himself at the same time is really going to help his progression. Like, he already has the Soul Ring, and this means that he can get aggressive on this bottom lane, and they can pretty much push both supports out of it relatively easily. And Illidan has to keep up in farm with Arteezy because Arteezy getting a lot of farm here means so much more.
Puppey going to be slowed down. Light Strike Array does land. He's got the Shallow Grave and will get it off in time. Virtus Pro are just going to slowly run him down, though. He gets the last little heal, but it's not enough. So despite Secret picking up the first blood, they do already give a kill to Illidan.
And this mid lane, S4, now that he has the high ground advantage, he's really starting to win the lane, and this is going to prompt G to just go for the stack. And he's actually going to miss it, but he still doesn't really want to stand on the bottom side of the hill, because it just means that S4 can go for the dive on him.
So with all this pressure at the bottom lane, it seems like VP have to keep their 2 supports here, but at the same time, we need help in middle, we need help at the top lane. I mean, Team Secret can just leave the SF solo against the Earthshaker, and he can easily zone out DK Phobos.
Yeah, now that he got 2 levels of the raise, it's incredibly easy for them to set up for a kill. Kuro's just waiting for it right now, and he can be patient, and he can afford to be patient because the Earthshaker isn't really going to come up here to contest the Shadow Fiend. Both of them have boots, but at the same time, it's really easy for them to set up for a kill on DK Phobos, especially when he's using his mana just to set up for the fissure blocks. And at bottom, again, this Dro just continues to struggle to get CS.
So, in the end, do you agree with the 2 supports? Every single lane needs help in a way. Do you agree with their decision to put priority on Illidan's farm rather than maybe playing a bit more offensively and going and trying to gank mid or even top lane?
Sort of, because by opening up the other lanes, that means that Puppey would actually have to rotate in, and FNG doesn't get that stun off. But I don't think Lil was close enough for them to follow up anyways. This bottom lane is going to be impossible regardless, because with that Soul Ring that he got from the first blood, he's just going to double Ion Shell and force Illidan back, and Illidan doesn't have the regen to deal with this.
They got the silence on Zai. It will run out eventually, though. He'll get the Surge. FNG is hoping to be able to get close enough for the Light Strike Array. They're actually still close enough for a Cold Arrows. Maybe FNG can land this one. He's going to turn around with the double Ion Shell, go straight for Lil. He's going to be able to pick up the kill. Unbelievable play by Zai. He might even get out. He held potions up, trying to dodge, trying to around, goes the kill. FNG almost there, gets the kill. 2 for 1 by Zai.
What kind of monster are you, Zai?
straight savage. Goes for the double kill on both supports. I mean, you just asked if it was worth it for the supports to stay down there. No, it's not.
Certainly not anymore. And look at this, S4. G is not level 6. S4 has the invis room. He's going to start putting some pressure. Never mind. I thought with maybe Puppy coming in from the side, but Puppy actually, this is rather interesting. He uses a ward to block up the hard camp. We don't see this too often, especially this early on into the game, but they know how critical the Storm Spirit's farm is this game, so he's just trying to limit that as much as possible.
Man, that bottom lane, though, you even saw Zai kind of fake it out. He's like, do I actually go for this? He's like, yeah, I go for this. I'm going to get a kill. And that just opens up the map so much. This means that FNG has to rotate out of it because they no longer want to be in this bottom side of the map. But look at Illidan. He doesn't have any more regen to deal with this at all. And this is going to mean that at some point, Zai can probably just go for the dive on him if he has a TP with.
Which means it's going to be of critical importance that Virtus.pro hold on to TP scrolls at this point. But I actually don't see any of their supports. They can't just straight up afford it. That's the problem.
This is not what you want to happen, especially for Alina, who relies on the setup stun for the Light Strike array. She doesn't have boots quite yet. They're incredibly poor. They're not going to have map vision for a little bit at least. They've still got that ward at that bottom lane, but it doesn't mean anything because Zai being there doesn't really reveal any information, and Secret don't really have to go for the gank at that bottom lane. Like, they can choose to smoke if they want to, but they'll probably move in for this bottom lane and then take the tower.
Try and chain stun S4. They get the Fissure. No, they couldn't get it up. S4 is actually going to get away. No, the right click is there. God actually gets the kill. He's run out of mana though. Little bit of a jump. Can he stay ahead of Arteezy? Another right click is going to bring him low, but they can't quite get it. So critical that VP actually got that kill on S4 and did not lose G in the process as they're already a little bit down in the laning phase. That would pick up the kill and even it up 3-3.
That would have meant so much. I actually don't know how they recover if G dies there too, but they managed to get a ward down here somehow, the Observer ward, blocking out G's camps, and this is going to mean a lot to the Storm Spirit, who's already struggling in this mid lane.
Uh-oh, Illidan in some trouble, actually gets a good silence on S4. They need to try and pop it with a pitcher there. They'll do it! S4! Too aggressive! And now, well, Zai, he's going to have to surge away. There's no Fissure block, though, so no opportunity for a secondary kill. But Illidan staying alive through that and getting the kill on S4. Huge. Now he's got a Morbid Mask. He can actually spend some of his time jungling and leave the bottom lane optional for Lil to farm up and get his level 6.
Oh, and mid, they go for it, but
that was close.
GCs are coming in. That's really significant. That's back-to-back deaths. That's really tilting. You use two TPs for that. And at the same time, it just slows you down so much when it comes to farm.
Right.
He was keeping even in net worth with the Storm Spirit, but after that, he dips almost 800 gold behind him at just the 8-minute mark, and this is a lane that, in some ways, you should still have a decent-sized lead in. Like, you can still be at least close to the Storm's net worth, but death after death isn't going to be able to complete it, and that just helps Illidan so much in that bottom lane.
DK Phobos is farming up his Soul Ring, trying to get that sustain that will allow him to full-time jungle. FNG is actually getting a little priority too. He's farming up the off lane. And obviously, we're trying to get that Laguna Blade ready to go. So they have a lot more kill potential against some of the very squishy heroes on the side of Team Secret. I feel like they're relying quite heavily on Puppy to pull a lot of Shallow Grave saves in this game.
Yeah, they might opt to go for the mech on Artur at some point, but he might just decide to go for the Yule Scepter Crusher. And at top, they're going to try to chase down FNG.
Turns around, FNG doesn't have the Laguna Blade, but he still gets the combo on Arteezy and gets a good amount of damage. Artur, though, does have his